Hello, welcome back to DevOps Invent. We will discuss about top Kubernetes interview questions and answers 2023. 1. What is Kubernetes? Kubernetes is an open-source framework for containerized application orchestration and administration. It makes it possible to consistently and effectively deploy, scale, and maintain containerized applications. Kubernetes offers a single method for managing containerized applications at scale and is built to operate across various clusters and cloud environments. Self-healing, automated scaling, and rolling upgrades are just a few of the capabilities that make managing containerized apps even easier. 2. What do you mean by the container in Kubernetes? Containers are a portable, lightweight, and self-sufficient approach to packaging and running software. Application packaging and deployment are done consistently and effectively in Kubernetes using containers. In order to keep itself apart from other containers and the host machine, each container only executes one process. An application's dependencies, libraries, and configuration files are all included in the container image that serves as the definition of a container. A container's intended number of replicas is always operating thanks to Kubernetes' use of container orchestration to manage and scale the containers. This makes it simple for developers to manage and deploy their applications across several clusters and cloud environments. 3. What are the main components of Kubernetes? Here are the main components of Kubernetes. The Kubernetes master, this component, which also comprises the controller manager and scheduler, H2, a distributed key value store. The API server and other components is in charge of managing the cluster as a whole. Nodes, these are the workstations on which the containerized programs are executed. The kubelet, which interacts with the master to maintain the cluster's intended state, is executed on each node together with a container runtime, such as Docker. Pods, the Kubernetes object model's smallest and most basic element is the pod, which serves as a host for one or more containers. Services. Services offer a consistent endpoint for pods and enable load balancing and service discovery. Replication controllers. They guarantee that the required number of pod replicas are always operating. Secrets and config maps. These resources are used to maintain the configuration data and secrets for pods and other cluster objects. 4. What do you mean by orchestration in Kubernetes? In Kubernetes, the term orchestration refers to the automated administration and coordination of containers and the resources they are connected to. It involves activities including networking, scalability, deployment, and self-healing. Using objects like pods, services, and replication controllers, Kubernetes orchestrates applications. Pods, which can hold one or more containers, are the smallest deployable units. Services manage load balancing and service discovery and give pods a solid endpoint. A replica of pod is always operating with the required number of copies thanks to replication controllers. 5. What exactly is a Kubernetes cluster? A set of nodes running containerized apps across diverse contexts and machines, cloud-based, physical, virtual, and on-premises, make up a Kubernetes cluster. It facilitates the simple management and migration of apps as well as their creation. 6. How is containerized deployment made simpler by Kubernetes? Since a typical application would operate in a cluster of containers on many hosts, all of these containers would need to communicate with one another. So, in order to accomplish this, a large-scale system that can scale, load balance, and monitor the containers is required. You must use Kubernetes to ease containerized deployment since it is cloud agnostic and can operate on any public or private provider. 7. What fundamental distinctions exist between Kubernetes and the Docker Swarm? Schedule and cluster Docker containers with Docker Swarm, a native, open-source container orchestration tool from Docker. The following characteristics set Swarm apart from Kubernetes. While Kubernetes and Docker Swarm both lack auto-scaling capabilities, Docker scaling is 5 times quicker than Kubernetes. Kubernetes provides a GUI in the form of a dashboard, but Docker Swarm lacks one. Compared to Kubernetes, which is more difficult to set up but offers the guarantee of a strong cluster, Docker Swarm is easier to install but does not have a stable cluster. While Kubernetes includes built-in capabilities for logging and monitoring, Docker needs external tools like the Elk stack. Rolling updates can be deployed via Docker, but automated rollbacks cannot be. Rolling updates as well as automated rollbacks can be deployed using Kubernetes. 8. What is a namespace in Kubernetes? The Kubernetes namespace is utilized in a setting where there are several users working on numerous projects across a wide geographic area. The namespace divides the cluster resources across several users.